On this week's episode, we celebrate our 5th podaversary.
I cannot believe it. We talk about all the ways we've changed and how our opinions have changed over these 5 years.
So stick around.
Hello and welcome to 5 years of Rare with Flair.
The podcast where two best friends with the same rare disease are living our best lives. I'm your host, Cassandra.
And I'm your host, Casey. Oh my gosh.
I, cannot fathom that it has been 5 years of us doing this pod.
Does it feel further than 5 years to you or closer? Does that make sense?
No, yeah, I think further just because the pandemic feels like a whole other time warp.
Yeah. I think further for me too. When I think about doing the actual pod, recording it with you, it doesn't feel like we've done it that long. But then when I think about our lives and how much has changed and how much we've done, how much we fit in these 5 years.
Gosh.
5 years is not even that long, and we have fit in a lifetime, I feel like.
Much.
In these
and
5
I just
years.
remember sitting down and recording that first episode, which we've talked about that before on our, I think our first podaversary episode. And I remember being in my parents' house because I was on and off in my parents' house during the pandemic.
I was in my parents' house too.
It was just such another world. Wow.
Yeah. And we had note cards. We were so nervous.
Oh my gosh. Yes, we scripted the life out of that episode.
Yeah.
I mean, relatively. I actually don't think we did compared to others. We didn't word for word, but since then, I mean, we literally just write 3 bullet points and we're okay, did it. We planned the episode.
So happy 5th anniversary, Cass.
Happy 5th anniversary, Cass.
My pod bestie, my girl. We have been through a lot together in these past 5 years. And thank you to everyone who has listened. And if you are an OG, if you have been listening since the first episode, wow, thank you so much. And even if you haven't, also thank you so much.
All are welcome. We have met folks that have told us that they've binged our pod, which I'm honestly just really impressed by because that's is a lot of hours of content.
That's a lot of hours of us yapping, and we can't thank you enough. Thank you to everyone who's ever left a review or a rating, and you can also follow us on YouTube now where you can leave comments, which is fun.
Wow.
You want to know something really funny that I'll let the audience in on as well that I saw today? I was actually on our YouTube channel today.
Okay.
And a lot of our videos don't have many views because I think people mostly listen to podcasts on the podcast streaming apps, of course, But randomly our recent American Girl Doll quizzes video had a ton of views compared to all the others. It was hundreds of views. It was so funny.
Wow. That's
who knows?
What a random episode to get a lot of traction.
It's hilarious.
That's so funny.
I have no idea what did it, but I was laughing. But yeah, thank you to everyone who's ever supported us. Quick little disclaimer before we get into this. I mean, we can have a little catch-up, Cass, of to what we've been up to, but I will say I had a medical procedure about a week and a half ago done in the throat area. And so my voice does sound a little different if you've noticed that. And if I sound a little funny or gurgly during this episode, that's why, but I'm doing good. So no worries. I might just sound I can tell I sound a little different. So yeah, that's that.
No worries and speedy recovery for Casey. So, what have you been up to before we get into the meat of today's episode?
Not too much. I had a good 4th of July.
Yay.
And went to Arkansas to celebrate with my boyfriend, and it was the best fireworks show I've ever seen. Usually I'm okay, fireworks. They're there. That's cool. We were really close. I think that's why. We were very close. It looked like they were coming down on us almost.
Whoa, right below.
Yeah. Right below. It was really cool. And I think fireworks are really cool for low vision. I've said this before because the contrast is so great with the night sky and the really bright lights. And at one point they were hurting my eyes though. At one point it was so bright. I was
I need
close my eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just been doing overall pretty good. And then had my medical thing and that went well, and yeah, just besides that, just been chilling. I know
Sweet.
you have a fun little update.
Guys, do I ever. So, the last week, I actually went to the American Council for the Blind convention, which was so much fun. I hadn't been to an ACB convention since 2017, and I got to go back with my work. So JP Morgan Chase sponsors a big chunk of ACB's convention, and we also had a booth. So myself and other members of the digital accessibility team that help make sure that the Chase app and website are accessible for customers with disabilities. We had a booth, we did a little survey, and talked to a bunch of people, but it was such a full circle moment because I think the first trip that I had taken after my major surgery 10 years ago, which is crazy that was 10 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Was the ACB convention because I had received a scholarship. And so as a former scholarship recipient for ACB, getting to go back as someone who's now like working in the accessibility field was just really meaningful to me and super, super special. It's such a great org. If you are in the blind community, but maybe not in the albinism community, and are looking for a community that understands and is like a fun, chill hang, like I highly recommend ACB. Like they're getting stuff done, but it feels so cozy, like family, even though you don't know a lot of people. And I don't know. I have a whole dissertation about how the blind community is different than the sighted community in a lot of really fantastic ways, but I think we might save that for the future.
Yeah, no, she was telling me about all the things she had kind of witnessed and wrote down about that, and I think we should do a whole episode on it at some point, because it's something I've noticed too, but you really notice it even more when you're at a convention like that. And I was feeling some FOMO when you were there. It sounded really fun.
It was so fun. I hope that someday you get to come to one, because they are such a blast, and
I would love to.
I don't know. You get so pampered while you're there because the staff at whatever hotel we're doing this convention at have been briefed. Usually. I've been to one ACB convention where they were actually not really prepared. But, but like, people are so nice. It's like the best customer service of your life. People are super helpful. They're always trying to help you find stuff. They've got like Braille and large print menus. Oh, the luxury of a large print menu.
That is so nice.
Oh, I felt so catered to. And then I went back to the real world.
It's such a stark reminder when you leave one of those and go back to the real world.
It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate.
But I was also in Arkansas, not at the same time as Casey, but I visited my brother and sister-in-law who live in Northwest Arkansas, and it was a nice time, and it's been real. It's been good. I wanted to tell the audience about something. Okay. So we've had a sponsor before, Ira. They sponsored a few of our episodes toward the end of last year. And I just this is not a sponsored segment. I need to clarify because since they have sponsored us before.
Right.
I just want to shout out Ira and how fantastic they are, because I saw them at ACB and was reminded of Ira and all of the great things they do. And you can use Ira for the free at a lot of stores. We were talking about it when we were doing our ad reads. We were talking about it with Walmart. So you can use Ira for free at Walmart. You can also use it for free at Starbucks and Targets and any Chase branch, actually. So, hey.
Oh, that's great. Hey.
So I actually was at work today, and I work in a massive, massive corporate building, and there's a lot of events and activities going on at any given time. And so I'll walk through, and it's very, very confusing because my vision is bad. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Oh, wow. You should make a pod talking about it.
Oh, my gosh. That's such a good idea.
Thanks. Yeah.
So, like, especially, like, Wednesdays, for some reason, it's, like, popping in there. And they'll have, like, vendors from, like, local vendors doing a little pop-up shop, or tables with things, people selling stuff, or even just giving out information. I never know what's going on. It's so confusing, and I don't always have the time to talk to every single person at a table. And so, if you ever,
you know what that reminds me of a little, sorry to cut you off,
no,
but
no,
it
no,
kind of
please
reminds
cut me
me
off.
of, like, when you're on a college camp, like when you're in college and there's
yes.
always something going on, and
Exactly.
like people are in a line and for something and you don't know what it is and whatnot.
It's so confusing.
That happened all the time on campus. I'd be like, what is going on? But I just walked by because
I just walked by. Yes.
Right.
And so, like, it's exactly like that. That's the perfect analogy. And also, you can use Ira for free at airports, at most airports. Or
that's awesome.
At least larger airports. I don't know. Anywho, I'm, like, at work, and I'm like, you know what? I just wish I had a sighted person with me, and then enter Ira. And so I call up an Ira agent, and I'm like, hey, can you just tell me, like, what's happening around me, and help me, like, read any signage that's around so that I can know what's going on. And so today especially, there was, like, an absolutely massive line of people. It was so long. I was like, what are they in line for? And so just exactly what you were saying. And so then with this Ira agent, she was so nice, so helpful. Shout out to Shauna. Love her. Okay. So then
shout out.
So, like, I was, like, moving my phone around, and she was like, oh my gosh, actually, it looks like people are waiting in line to get chocolate. I was like, stop. No. And they were like, she told me that there were signs that said, like, white milk and dark chocolate, and had little pictures of different kinds of chocolates. And I was like, girl, I would never have known that had I not called up an Ira agent.
A perfect example of how useful it can be in those situations.
Yes, and again, once more to stress that this was not a sponsored segment.
Right. We sound like we're Spawn, but we just like them.
I just really like Ira, and I highly recommend them, because I think sometimes when you have low vision, you might wonder, like, oh, I don't know, do I really need the extra assistance? I'm putting a pin in that for later. It might come up in the future. But also, like, if you remember what it feels like to have a sighted person near you that is pretty descriptive, say your mom, a partner who likes to describe what's around you, a friend.
Sure.
You know, it feels so good. You feel really included, and you can maybe have that experience with Ira. Yay.
Love that. Love it.
Woo.
Yeah, it was, you gave us a little sneak peek slightly, putting a pin in that later. For what we're about to talk about.
Foreshadowing.
A little foreshadowing. So, you know, we try to make these anniversaries feel special, and we were like, what can we do? We've done so many fun, like, throwbacks and behind the scenes and different rankings of our episodes and fun things in the past. We recommend you go back and listen to our past podaversaries.
They're a lot of fun.
But this time we were like, okay, we've been chatting for 5 years on this podcast. We've shared a lot of opinions and stories and personal views, right? And as you grow, you often change. And sometimes your opinions stay the same, and sometimes things change. And I actually saw a Molly Burke video that kind of inspired this episode. Take a shot every time we say Molly Burke. But Molly Burke made a video about I think the video was it Disability Hot Takes?
I think it was, yeah.
It was a disability hot take video, but she kind of touched on a few different ways in which her views have changed over the years. Like, she would say something and she was like, now 5 years ago I would have said this or thought this, but now I think this way. And I messaged Cass immediately after watching that, and I was like, I think this is a great topic, because surely in 5 years we have probably changed a little. I mean, Cass and I are always trying to, like, better ourselves, I think, and we like goal setting, and we like that. So it's not necessarily changing for the worse. A lot of times we're trying to change for the better, but it just ways in which we've changed, our opinions have changed over 5 whole years. I mean, 5 years is a long time.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like we've, you know, in different topics and different episodes we've done that may have been reprises of similar topics in the past, since we've done this show for 5 years, we've sort of touched on ways that we've changed our approaches in life. And we're always trying new things to see really what works. And I think what makes sense with our lifestyle, our values, our priorities. And I think this is a good place to maybe take stock of that or just have it in one place. And you know what? If we're still doing this pod in another 5 years, which is like wild to think about, maybe we'll go back and be like, I disagree with our 5-year hot takes, you know, like.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true. It's so true. We both wrote down 3 things, which was not actually planned. Like, we both just wrote down 3 things. And then we were like, I wrote down 3 things. Oh, I wrote down 3 things.
Amazing.
And we don't know what the other 3 things are. Some of them could be the same. Some could be different. I don't know. I'm excited to hear yours because I don't know them. So, like, I'm excited. I'm excited. Do you want to go first? Who wants to go first?
I want you to go first.
You want me to go first? Okay. Okay, so my first thing is the most specific thing on the list. It's very specific. I want to say maybe like about a year ago now, I got a pink cane. And this was something I disagreed with when we had first started the podcast. And I think I even probably mentioned it early on that, like, you know, so I've talked about getting the pink cane, but if you missed that episode, basically I have a white cane. I still use my white cane, but I got an all pink cane. And for a while, I never understood why anyone would get an all colored cane. I thought it kind of defeated the purpose of being recognized as a blind person, which I still kind of agree with to an extent. I go back and forth, right? But I got a pink one to be a little more incognito at certain times if I felt like it. And I kind of switched between the two. But it definitely was something that I had more of a stance on years ago. And then I went to a conference and I saw more people with colored canes and I thought, I don't know, that seems fun and I might try it. And that's the fun thing about the blind journey. You can try different things out, you know? There's no rules here. I mean, I guess there may be some rules here, but like, if you want to try different methods of mobility tools, like Cass got a new cane around the same time. She got one that like has the bounce back.
It's called the no jab cane. It's like a spring in the handle, yeah.
Yeah, we did an entire episode about both of those at the same time. And I wish I could remember off the top of my head what it was called, but it was about a year ago that we did that. So, yeah, I think that maybe 5 years ago I would have said, no, never, I'll never do that. And now here I am. So who knows? Like you said, maybe in 5 years from now, I'll say, oh, no, I don't ever want to, who knows, you know? But that's something that
right. Well, and like for context, for those who may not be very familiar, your standard cane is majority white on the body. It could be completely white, but it often has a red segment or tip. And that's sort of the symbol. If you look in your phone's emoji library, there is a white cane symbol, and it looks like that. It's mostly white with a red bottom, and often it has a black handle. So Casey had a cane, her white cane had a pink handle, but the rest of the cane looked like a quote-unquote normal cane that you could identify a blind person. And what she means is that she got a cane last fall, which we talked about, with a pink handle, and all of the segments on the cane are also pink tape.
Yeah, so it's just not as obvious that it is a blind person cane. However, one time I used it, so 9 times out of 10 I use my white cane in the airport because that's part of the function of it, in my opinion. But I did use my pink cane in the airport one time, and immediately an airport employee knew I couldn't see. So, and you know, some people don't even recognize the white cane. So it's like, it really depends on the person that you get. But I was surprised by that because I thought the pink cane was like not an obvious blind thing. And he immediately was like, oh, you can't see. And so.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. So like, I mean, a big part of the reason that I think you, and even I were thinking that it wouldn't be a good idea is because part of the function of the cane, besides tactile feedback, is what you were saying, identity. And they have specific identity canes that we've talked about. We have opinions on those too.
Yes. Which I will never change my opinion on the identity cane.
I know, right? I don't
think I will.
It's kind of pointless, honestly. But like,
we don't. Yeah, we're not fans.
But that's really neat that it still worked for identity. It may not work as many times, maybe, but also do you always have to ID? Maybe not.
Right, maybe not. Especially if you're with a sighted person who's helping you at the time. Like, if I'm alone, I really like to be ID'd.
Yeah. Me too.
If I'm with a sighted person and it's not something where I'm going to be in danger, like in traffic or anything like that. Like, I brought my all pink cane on the cruise that I was on, and
cute. Yeah, that makes sense.
I just felt like I needed it more for the tactile feedback on the cruise, like the steps and stuff.
Right.
More so than identification, really. But, you know, I mean, people are still going to see that there's something different about you.
You were with your whole family and you were with your boyfriend, and so, like, it makes sense that, I mean,
right.
Like, being alone and being with sighted folks that you trust is, like, whole different ballgame.
Two different things. Like, you don't have to advocate for yourself quite as much, because when you're alone, you need to ask for help more often than just asking who you're with for help, right? And
yes, right,
and
exactly.
So, and you're still going to look different. Like, you're clearly still holding something, but it's just not quite as obvious, maybe, what it is. It's still kind of some kind of tool for mobility, people are probably going to assume, but, you know. So
I really like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I think that's a really good example.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll do maybe my most specific one as well.
Okay.
So when I first got Romana, my retired guide dog, it was 2016, I was 19, I was in college, and I was full of rage, right? We know this. I wasn't that insufferable, but, like, I think I had, you know, I was younger, I was more inexperienced, I had a shorter fuse. This was part of the experience of, you know, me first getting a guide dog. And so starting to learn in the guide dog community, you know, what are our rights? I've talked about having to advocate for my rights as a guide dog handler in our discrimination episode that we did last year. Yeah. And it happens all the time. And there are instances where you could sort of choose to self-disclose up front. And I'm mostly thinking of rideshare. And I knew a lot of, there were some people, it was very divided in the service dog community, right? There were some people who, whenever they would request a ride on Uber, Lyft, whatever, they would send a message to the driver saying, I have a service dog, just FYI, you know, ADA requires that you take us, but still. You don't have to disclose up front. Like, and I think a lot of people were like, well, I'm not going to do that because it's not required of me to do that. And I sort of fell in that camp. I was like, well, I'm not going to disclose to the driver because, you know, maybe if they're already there, it may not be worth the trouble of driving away. I don't know. I still got denied rides, which, as I'll always say, is illegal. But it happens a lot, especially to guide dog handlers, and guide dog schools are very aware that this is a rampant problem, and they're trying to work with these rideshare companies to make sure that they are, like, drivers are aware of their obligation to take service dogs. But somewhat recently, both Uber and Lyft have separately launched similar features where you, as a service dog handler, can self-disclose in your profile. So when you request a ride, it will somehow appear to the driver that, like, yes, I am traveling with a service dog. And I've heard very, very mixed opinions about this too, but this feature came out somewhat recently. And you know what? I think, when, you know, obviously I've said where I would have stood before, but now I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that because life is too short. I hate getting rejected. And so does every other handler.
But it just takes you completely off guard. And,
It knocks the wind out of you. It just
ruins your whole schedule, ruins your whole day. Like, it really can just, like, put you in a bad mood, make you upset. Like, it's
really upsetting, and it makes you feel less than human. And, you know, your dog that you know is incredibly well trained, comes from like an accredited school, if you will, right? Super well behaved. If they're in the car, they're making no noise and just laying quietly on the floor the entire time, right? Like, you know your dog, and it's upsetting on your and your dog's behalf. And so,
yes.
You know, if I can self-disclose and avoid heartache, and if people want to reject the ride up front, honestly,
it's a little less jolting.
Do that, I guess. Like, it's super illegal. You're not allowed to do that. But also, my time is valuable, and my emotional well-being is also valuable.
Your emotional well-being, because there is no one that wouldn't really throw off. That would throw off anybody. And you might be on the way to, like, something important, an important meeting or anything, and you're just totally thrown off guard, and your brain is not in a good spot after that. And I totally see that. And I think that's actually a really good example, and, like, what I wanted this episode, like, the idea that I think we had for this episode to be about is just even specific things like that, like, rideshare is changing over the years. Yeah. And the system is changing, and you've learned, and you've had different experiences over the last 5 years. So, like, having that, I really like that. I love this. I think this is great so far.
This is such a good topic. I'm really excited about it.
I know. I kind of love that. But I can't relate in the sense because I don't have a guide dog. But I totally back what you're saying and totally support that. And I see both sides, right? Like, I totally see why you started not disclosing. I probably would have too. But I also, in your shoes, I'd be doing the same. I would probably just I would rather be rejected up front, even though it's still illegal and terrible. But it wastes less of your time and your emotional energy. And that's really, you want to protect yourself as much as possible.
Exactly. And I think, you know, again, it's not required of you, but it does carry some weight if a driver actually pulls up and they're like, oh, a dog. And I'm like, it's a service dog. And then I can just throw in the added fact of I disclosed it on my profile so that they're aware and that I'm trying to be courteous, even though it's, again, not my obligation. I'm trying to do us both a solid, mostly for me, because I just want to get in a car where we can go to where we need to go, but...
Right, and I think that is the bottom line, is like, you're trying to do them a favor-ish, but even though they should just take your dog, but you're really doing it for yourself, and I think
I'm really doing it for me.
Like, I think that's good. I think you should. I think, you gotta do what you gotta do to get through this life. It's not easy being blind, so you gotta do what you gotta do. Okay, so... Another way that I have changed in the last 5 years and just in the last 10 years, I continue to change it this way. So it's really funny the way I'm going to start this story. Okay. My boyfriend and I were watching Love is Blind the other night. Have you watched this?
No, I haven't, but it's a reality show, yeah.
It's a reality show. So this is not a spoiler, but it's a dating show. And this girl had a daughter, right? And she had to disclose... Oh, no, actually, that's from Love Island.
Oh, my gosh.
Viral, that's a different thing, the viral clip of Mamacita. Yeah, if anyone knows that. But anyway, this girl had a daughter, and she was super stressed about disclosing the information, that she had a daughter to these potential dates. And she was telling one of her dates, and she was, like, really building it up and over-explaining it. And I was, like, looking at my boyfriend. I was like, I feel like it would have gone over better if she had just come out and just said, hey, I have a daughter. This is what it is, instead of, like, really, like, she was just really building it up. Like, well, I have something to tell you, and I don't know, this whole thing. And I was like, that used to be me, not just with dating, but in life. I was very much an over-explainer. I think I'm an over-explainer in general. Just, like, I kind of have always been that way. But with my disability specifically, I felt the need to let people know everything up front, when really you don't have to do that at all. So, like, when it came to dating on the apps and stuff, I would say, like, I don't drive and my eyes wiggle. I would, like, go for it. Like, I would tell them all these things. Yeah. And this was, like, back in college, a long time ago. But even disclosing to new friends, I would, like, tell them a lot of information of, like, I can't do this, and this is how I can see, and I can see this, and I can't see that. And as I've gotten older, I'm like, they don't need to know all that. Like, I can just tell, like, I still disclose it. I'm not ashamed of it. But I can just say, hey, I'm visually impaired. And then I prefer nowadays to let them learn as they get to know me. Instead of me verbally explaining all these things, they can just learn as they get to know me. And this goes for anybody in my life, anybody at work, anybody, a friend, whoever. because that's the real way to learn. But I think in the past, I wanted them to know all the information up front of like, I wear sunglasses and I do this and this and this. And I think like it does have its pros for them to know a lot of stuff up front, but like it's okay for them to slightly peel back the layers over months of knowing you. And I've really changed in that way a lot, actually.
I have a lot to say. One is that we did an episode last year about like oversharing, and this is kind of in line with that episode. If you want to go check that one out, I'm still really happy with that episode, and I still agree with the things that we were sharing there.
Oh, definitely. Me too.
And so, girl, yes, absolutely. And I think about it in a way of nobody does this about anything else.
Snaps.
No one is going to be like telling you like, hey, you know what? Like I have like huge financial debts and I just need to tell you like, right. 'Cause that feels personal. Okay. Or something that is somewhat, because at a certain point, I think we can get kind of technical with our vision and it becomes almost medical. And so for a lot of people, it's too much information. Yeah. And if you're throwing a lot at them at once, they're not even going to probably understand all of it. Like, I feel like knowing you is easier to understand than hearing it. So much easier. And if they want, I'm totally open to questions. If they have questions they want to ask, I am so open to them. And that's probably a better way to go about it anyway, because they might have a specific thing they want to know about. But if you're just sitting there offering up all this word vomit information, and honestly, and if you don't have this on your list, another thing I kind of thought about in this vein is just like the way we overshared online as well. And I think we did overshare online, and I think it's because the internet landscape has changed. I don't think that was an us problem. I think that was how it was. I think like, that the internet, using Facebook, which is what we use because we're old, looked very different. 10 and it wasn't just us. Everybody did it, so it wasn't weird that we were doing. It wasn't that weird. But now. It wasn't that weird, but looking back, it feels really vulnerable that we were sharing all that. So yeah, I think just like oversharing in general, and we've talked about this even with our like chronic illness stuff. We don't need to tell. Not all of our friends need to know all that. They don't need to know. I don't know that a lot of my friends know that, and there are very few who do, because it's generally not relevant information. It's not like it's a huge secret, but it's also not. I mean, I think a lot of people have stuff going on and they're not talking about it all the time either, right? Well, it's like you were saying with the debt analogy. It's like, I mean, if it's not relevant to what's happening, why do we need to talk about that? Right. I mean, you're not hiding it, but it's not something you don't need to just like go from 0 to 100 with your personal issues. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just and like our vision is the more apparent one, especially because we use tools like canes and dogs. And so we feel, I think, more pressure to have to explain these things. Right. When really a couple sentences suffices, or frankly, maybe no introduction until maybe people ask. Right. I think some of my over-explaining maybe came from people are going to think I'm faking it. I need to explain to them, hey, I have some vision and this and that. But I don't know. I mean, if they want to wonder, let them wonder. Like, I don't need to be their encyclopedia. Exactly. Yeah. Well, so, okay, one of my points was almost exactly this. Really? Yeah, so I wrote down disclosing in dating, specifically. Ah, amazing. It's like we knew. We didn't talk about this. It's like we knew. So we did an episode on dating long time ago when we were both single, and I am single, and I've been in and out of relationships, not to get like super into details. Just throughout the 5 years, throughout the 5 years, we've bopped around. We've bopped around. We've been dating and not dating. We've bopped around. And since then, I've been dating online as well, which was something that I had not done at the time. That's true. Of putting out that episode. That's true. You hadn't, Right. So my approach to disclosing in a dating sense, especially, dating online, is pretty different than what I had said in that episode, right?
Yeah, I would say so too for me.
Yeah, because we have to adapt. And I think a lot of it was exactly what you were just talking about, of giving them all of that information up front. Maybe not all at once, but I think back when I had talked about, I wanted them to know about, my vision, of course, but also my, like, other major health-related problems before we were even, like, official.
Right, exactly. Because I think it's a way to protect ourselves. Like, we're getting all of this out in the open so that if you want to reject it, you know what I mean? It's like a fear of rejection. It's like, we want to get this all out.
Exactly. And, like, I had always seen it as, like, hey, I'm putting all my cards on the table, or, like, here's the door. Basically, like, you can leave if this is too scary for you, whatever. Right. I would not make those choices now.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Because everybody has stuff they have to disclose.
Everybody has stuff that they have to disclose. And I've learned this dating around and dating, like, being in relationships. And, like, my vision is something that I always try to disclose before I meet someone. So if I met someone online, I try to slide it in a very casual way.
Me too. Yeah.
And I got that idea from you, actually, because you had been dating online much longer than I had.
I didn't start off that way, though, doing it. I didn't start off doing it casually, like I just said. I didn't. I would kind of over-explain at first. I would send a paragraph,
Right.
And then as time went on, I would just say a very short little, like... And it usually had to do with driving. If they, if I told them I was going to Uber to the date or whatever, something like that. So,
yeah. I tried to, like, manipulate the conversation so that I can slide it in with a couple specific topics are usually, like, my best segues into the fact that I just throw it in as part of the conversation. And if they pick on it, they pick on it. And if they don't, whatever, right? So, like, usually if people ask me if I like where I live, I like to say that, yes, I really like where I live because it's very walkable, since I don't drive because I'm visually impaired. And I use that term really intentionally because
we don't say legally blind.
It's the least scary term.
Legally blind confuses people. I mean, they all
is confusing,
but
because it goes with that weird glasses if you're legally blind without your, whatever.
But then if you say visually impaired, they're like, oh, you have glasses, cool. Like,
sure.
I've had that happen before, too, where they're like, I'm visually impaired, too. Like, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. But, like, saying that you don't drive because of your vision.
Right.
Also helps. And also, if I talk about my job, which is accessibility related, sometimes guys will be like, oh, how'd you get into that? And I'll be like, well, actually, I depend on accessibility tools because I'm visually impaired.
Or if, like, Romana's in your picture.
Right, and it's like, oh, tell me about your dog. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, she's a guide dog. Like,
yeah, yeah. There are different
and
ways
I have
to
had...
do it.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was done. I was just saying there are ways to do it.
Our connection is really weird today.
Oh, sorry.
I have had guys... I had a guy that I told my dog was a guide dog, and he did ghost me after that. So you know what?
Yep.
Like, they
Been
have
there.
the choice, right? Like,
yep.
But, like, all other stuff, health-related things, like, I don't know, man. Like, that's... I think I would wait quite a while for that until we were maybe already even in a relationship, and just as you continue to disclose things to each other because you're getting to know each other, period.
Yeah. It is very personal, and you don't want to just jump all that on someone right away. That feels too vulnerable and maybe a little scary to anyone. Not just because of like the content, but because of how quick it is. Like, it's not necessarily what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. Like, how quickly you're sharing it. Because sharing anything on the first date like that is a little much for anybody. I mean,
right.
You gotta just have fun. I'm so serious sometimes when it comes to this kind of thing. I had to learn to kind of just have fun and get to know, like, I'm not a have fun when I'm getting to know someone. That's not fun for me. I feel like I'm going to vomit every day. But my friends would tell me, like, just enjoy it. And that was very hard for me. But if you go into the mindset of I'm just enjoying getting to know a new person, you can really take off that pressure of like having to open yourself up raw in the first 2 weeks.
And again, think of all of the things that they have yet to disclose to you
about them. And there is stuff. There always is.
There's always stuff, right? And so
Yes.
I think just, you know, my thought in life, of course, everyone can do whatever feels right for them. But
of course,
it's also an unfair position to put someone in because you are bombarding them with information and then expecting them to react in a more positive way. And it's a little unfair. Like, you've got to let people have time to kind of mull that information over and feed little bits at a time because... And also, different people have different levels of tolerance for things like this, right? Like,
yes, and you've lived with this information for years, and so for you, it might feel normal, and for them, this could be the first time they're hearing about anything like this at all. And so, to you, you're like, "Why are you freaking out? This is so fine." But to them, they have no context for this.
Right? Maybe they've never been sick in their lives, right? Like,
very possible. I will say, though, going back to that episode, which was episode 14, and I know this because we joked it was like our Valentine's Day episode was 14. Going back, I will say a lot of our principles I do think are still the same. Like, a lot of our viewpoints, our main, like, thoughts haven't changed, but it would be interesting to go. I mean, I haven't heard that episode in years, but I do think some of the things...
I think the approach is more of what's different.
I agree. It's the approach. But I think some of our viewpoints stay the same. But, yeah, the approach can change. And the internet landscape and dating apps have also changed in 5 years. So
absolutely.
There's that. Yeah. And the more you do it, you know, you hadn't been on the apps yet at that point. The more you do it, the more you kind of, like, get to know how it works and what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. I love that. My next one, and we talk about this all the time, so it's not really, like, groundbreaking. But this podcast, over the last 5 years, I've become a much better advocate for myself because talking candidly about our disability, you know, Cass and I had so many, like, memories buried deep that we unearthed through this podcast that would have never come back up. And kind of sitting with all of that and, like, looking at your disability trajectory throughout your life is not something you would do if you weren't doing a podcast. It's not something I wouldn't just sit there and be like, okay, so when I was 5 years old, this happened and this and that led to this and whatever. And when you're openly talking about it, you're brought back. Speaking of Molly Burke, grab your shot glass. I don't know if you saw a reel she made recently where she went back to her old school where she had a traumatic experience with, like, getting injured on the playground. So, yeah, she got injured on the playground as a child, and from not being able to see, she ran into a fence and broke her face open or whatever, or busted her face open, and she went back there, and I think if she wasn't a content creator and wasn't constantly having to unearth these things, she probably wouldn't be working through this, like, her past traumas as much. I think it's the same for us. I think we're working through, like, our whole lives and what our disability has meant to us throughout, but also... being a better advocate, just getting better at talking about our condition, getting to, like, we have to obviously know it well enough to talk about it, right? And it has made me a better advocate in real life. And when I have faced, I mean, if you want to go back and listen to our discrimination episode from last year, I won't get into it, but I faced, like, a pretty mega discrimination issue last November, and I stood up for myself. And I think pre-podcast, I don't know if I would have had the guts and the initiative and all of that to stand up for myself in the way that I did, but I knew my rights. And I think, like, talking about your disability and knowing your rights is so important. Even if you're not going to go out and I'm not telling you to go out and make a podcast tomorrow, but just knowing your rights and being able to talk about it and having the knowledge to talk about it and knowing, you know, what you're worth and all of that has changed my life in many ways. And that was something I didn't expect 5 years ago when we started this journey. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think another way that this happens, besides, you know, having a podcast, but we did another episode about, I'm going to link all these episodes in the show notes if you don't know.
Sorry, girl.
I wrote the show
we
notes.
Just keep dropping episodes for you to
just,
link.
like, get a little minute to plug the show notes at rarewithfleur.com where these episodes are originally posted.
Oh, yes.
if you want a quick link to those episodes, they'll be on our website. Anywho, I think another way, we did an episode about community and being in community and how powerful and empowering that is. And, you know, even just having gone to the ACB convention last week, being in community reminds you of your rights, and you do get to share these stories. Of course, we've gotten to share maybe more than average just because, number one, we're making this show, like Casey said, and number two, we're also just besties. We talk all the time, and so it's actually extremely helpful for us because we do get to work through a lot of that together.
Right, and we wouldn't even be talking as much if it weren't for this pod either.
No, it's true.
I mean, we talk like every day pretty much, but at a minimum for this pod, we have to talk like once a week to do the pod and get it out to the public. And we weren't even talking at a minimum once a week, you know, prior to the pod. We would like really have long catch up FaceTime sessions, you know, every few months. So, and we would text or whatever. But having you to really just every day when a blind moment happens. I mean, you even were telling me a blind moment over memo literally today. Like
literally earlier
happened
today.
To you.
Like an hour ago.
And you wouldn't, and we probably wouldn't be like messaging each other every day and telling these moments every single time they happened. You know, we would probably only share the big ones if we weren't talking as often. So that's huge. And I think I take that for granted, like having you, like I try not to.
Same. I know, right?
But it would be so hard to go through this. I mean, this life is not easy, and it's like it can feel isolating, and it would be hard to not be able to talk about these things with people who got it. So that's really awesome that you're like always there for me to share these random tidbits with.
I am always here for you, and you're always there for me.
I'm always here, Bae. Always, Bae. Always. But also, obviously, we enjoy other parts of our friendship that are not blind. Like, that's not all we talk about, people, okay? Like, we talk about everything under the sun.
Cartoons.
And we have fun. Mostly just blindness and cartoons, actually. That's it.
No, that's it. That's all we talk about.
That's it. But yeah, totally.
I love it. I think I'm taking a pin out of what I had said earlier, guys.
Oh, we're back.
Something that I have changed my thoughts on is accepting help in general, and especially somewhat recently, actually, airport help. Now, Casey has almost always gotten airport help.
Yeah.
And what I mean by airport help is, you know, requesting at your airline's desk where they collect the baggage that you get. Sometimes they call it an escort. Sometimes they call it arm assistance through your airport TSA and airport assist. Honestly, I've traveled a bunch within the past month, and frankly, game changing. Now, is airport assistance always perfect? No. I'll get to that. But
is it great for TSA specifically? Yes.
I'm so, you know what? So when I had gotten Romana, Guide Dogs for the Blind kind of encouraged us to seek out airport assist. And I did it a few times, and then I was like, it's fine. I travel a lot. I can figure it out. No worries.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that kind of got me through. I kind of enjoyed trying to figure out my way through airports, especially in layovers. I thought that was fun and entertaining. And Romana, one of the places that she worked the very, very, very best was in an airport.
Yeah.
So,
and you had her, and that does make a little difference that you have another pair of eyes.
It does make a little difference.
Yeah.
Now, traveling alone, which I often do, especially, you know, for work or to visit friends.
Yeah.
You know, it's different. Traveling with sighted people, friends, family, even coworkers. I was with coworkers recently. And it's different. It's easier because people who are with you, they know you, they might be helping you out a little bit more. And so you don't always need airport assist when you're with people. But alone? Wow. Like, okay. Airport assist is really awesome because these people generally know the airport really well.
Yeah.
Because they work there and they've often done maybe more than one airport assist. And, you know, outside of number one, skipping the line to security, which is long.
Yes, that's one of the
best
parts.
Also they mitigate so many micro stressful things in the airport that truly add up. Like the guy waving you on to show them your ID, and not saying any words, right? The TSA agents motioning you to do something and then yelling at you for not doing it. They tell you the things in your bag to take out. I'll just do it, and they'll put it in the bin.
And they do it for you. They're putting it in the box.
Yeah, they even do it for you.
A lot of the time, they're grabbing it from me,
Oh, I know, right? I'm like, I just kind of hand them my laptop. I'm like, here you go. And, like, it's so much easier. Like, so GDB had also, I was reminded of this, GDB had recommended, so I'm recommending it to y'all now, tip your airport assists. Bring a $5 if you do it. You know, they don't always expect a tip, but I think they appreciate it. And if it's really excellent service, I would even give $10 or more. But like, bare minimum job gets $5 from me. And so then I don't feel as bad or awkward asking them to help me do stuff before we even get to my gate.
Right.
Because sometimes
if you need like the bathroom or
like show me to the bathroom, and then they'll wait for you outside and. Like,
and a lot of times people do go above and beyond, and they'll offer. They'll say, do you need a water? Do you need the bathroom? Do you need a store or whatever? And a lot of the times I'll get to the airport pretty early, so I say no, and then I'll go to my gate, and then eventually I'll get up and go bop around and find a store if I want to.
Especially if I know the airport myself.
Yeah, because sometimes I like spending time in the store, and I don't want to feel rushed with the person like waiting on me in the store,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
A little different, but the store I like to bop around a bit, kind of.
I think in airports that I'm not familiar in, I'll, like, ask them, like, hey, can we go to the Starbucks? And there have been a couple times where they've shown me to a Starbucks that, even if I've been in that airport before, like, I didn't know it was there.
Yeah.
And so, a different Starbucks than I was used to that's more conveniently placed or maybe has a shorter line, because they would probably know.
And if it's a really quick layover, I don't need all that stress. If it's a huge airport and it's a really tight turnaround, I'm just like, take me. I'm going to close my eyes and enjoy the ride. Take me.
Right. And I had that experience just a couple days ago when I was in O'Hare. It was literally the longest walk known to man. But
often is.
Anywho, like, just ask. I think I've seen pictures of myself in Sighted Guide. And with my mom, we were like, I was traveling with my parents, and my dad had snapped a picture of me doing Sighted Guide with my mom, because it was a really challenging area that we were walking through, and I had my cane, I was just holding it, and I was like, wow, guys, I look super blind.
Wow, shocker.
But like, just hanging on to someone, I think makes you maybe look a little more dependent. But I think I had such an aversion to that because I wanted to prove that I was capable and that I could do it. And I've had many, many years of lots and lots of travel, notwithstanding the pandemic, that I have proven to myself that I can do it. And now I can just have the nice airport guy take me through, and I don't have to like lose sleep over like TSA and them getting mad at me.
Well, I would love to go back and compare it to the Uber thing, or the rideshare thing. Because it's really, you can do it, yes, but is it going to save you emotional and physical turmoil to let someone else do it? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so recently, actually, I had a quick layover, and no one was coming. Like, help was not on the way, people. And it was, the flight was leaving, and it was pretty close by, I could tell, or someone had told me it was. So I was just like, okay, I'm going on my own. And I did, and it's fine. And a lot of the times you can go on your own, and you can prove to yourself that you can figure it out on your own. But does it save you the headache of having to do it? Absolutely. Is it great to just relax and let someone else do it sometimes? Yeah, especially if that's like a free service. I mean, free besides a tip that you would give, but you know what I mean?
Like, which is just more out of the kindness of your heart. Like, that is part of the job.
Right. But like, it is a free service, so why not take it? So I get you. I think like when you're younger, you want to like prove to yourself, and that's an important time in our lives to prove to ourselves that we can. I think like we need that.
And it does feel like such a win that,
It
like,
does.
yeah, I did it myself, and, you know, if I had to do it again, I could. But also, you know what? I've done it a lot. I'm getting older. And also, actually, you know, something I was just thinking of, airport assist also helps me do, especially when this has happened when I've been at an airport at my destination, and it's, like, not my home airport, right? If I'm getting a ride or looking for my Uber, they'll find it for me.
Yeah,
they take,
that's
amazing. My, guys, wow. Do you understand? I don't know if you're not a frequent traveler, I'm just here to tell you that every airport has their rideshare pickup place in a different location.
Oh, it's awful.
It's so
Even
confusing.
Sighted people struggle all the time trying to find that.
So confusing. They took me, I was in LaGuardia recently. The guy took me to the place. He told me where we were. Or no, this was in Dallas. He told me, like, what zone we were, because sometimes the app will ask. And I just put it in, and then he saw the car coming, and he was like, here you go, this is your ride. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yep, that's pretty incredible. I have done that before, and that's great. So
it's so good.
Why not take advantage of help when it's there? I mean, you know,
like, ask for help if you need it, you know?
Leave your ego on the side and go
you know,
ahead.
I think that's something that I have learned in, you know, in time and age and maturity, and, you know, there's nothing wrong or immature about you if you don't want the help. If you want to do it yourself, of course, like, feel free to, but at the same time, like, it saves me emotional anguish.
Yeah, and especially if you're trying to do something by yourself out of stubbornness, and you know, there are those people who are, like, on the opposite side of the spectrum who are like, well, I would never use a cane. I don't need any help at all. I don't need anything. And, like, you know, once again, that's their prerogative. But there is, like, a certain sense of, like, but why are you making your life harder for yourself? Like,
exactly.
Why are you making things difficult when they could be better? But that's, you know, that's a whole other topic, kind of. We could get into that. For sure. But guys, like, we've grown, we've changed. Are we done yet? No, we're not done yet. Heck no, we're not. And that's the scary and fun part, is, like, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we're going to learn so much more. We're going to have so many more different experiences. The world is going to change. Technology is going to change. Things are going to keep changing. And we just got to, like, figure out how we feel about all these things as they continue to change. I think a lot of our core values haven't changed. And we always joke that we agree on a lot of things, like regarding disability. We agree on most things. And I don't think that's changed. I think a lot of views we've changed together, almost. Yeah. Like, if I've changed, or you've changed, like, we've kind of even had chats together and kind of influenced each other in a way, too. So that's cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, you know, not being shy about being bold and upfront and necessarily, like, and having our canes and asking for the help when we need it, but also maybe we don't have to give people the dissertation of our disease, right? Like, it's maybe it's not that deep. Maybe we can just kind of let it happen. Yeah.
And I think that goes for a lot of things in life. Maybe I think some of these are not even just disability related. They could be related to so many different things in life, and broader topics of speaking up, knowing when to speak up, knowing when to overshare, knowing all the things.
It's really been a theme from this past, like, year for us.
Yeah, it has.
In many different episodes, we've honestly come to a very similar conclusion of, like, know when to speak up, know when to
not speak,
get the help you need, and know when it's not that important.
And we've both kind of grown from opposite sides of the spectrum. Like, you were more cagey about things, and I was more timid. And we've both grown to kind of meet in the middle a little bit. You know, so that's cool too, to see how we've changed as individuals and how we've kind of, you know, we try to be our best disabled selves. It's not always easy, but we try.
We're trying to live our best lives.
Like we say, that sounds familiar.
I wonder where it's from. Maybe I saw it on a t-shirt or something.
Oh, wow.
At an airport store.
But I feel so, like, warm and fuzzy inside.
I know. Oh, I love you so much.
I love you so much. It's like,
and I love our listeners so much too.
We have such a bond that no one else can ever quite understand unless you're us. Truly. And I think our listeners kind of can feel that, and hopefully you feel like you're our friends too, and you've gotten to spend a lot of hours with us. So, you know, hopefully if you're in the low vision community, you also feel seen by what we're saying, and if not, you're learning. So that's pretty cool either way.
Yeah. I love it. Oh, well, we don't know how long we'll keep doing this pod, but we're just going to keep doing it, okay? So
we're just going to keep
we
doing
hope
it.
that you stick around with us as we continue to.
Yes, we love you all. Happy 5 years. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.